Hello and welcome to Voices of the Vic, episode 6 with me, Mike Duffy, and my co-host Ben Aiton. Thank you for tuning in again. If this is your first time, this is the 6th time. We really do appreciate you tuning in and continuing to listen to us. And we really hope you do appreciate what's coming up. Now, before we go into it, I just want to obviously bring my co-host Ben Aiton into it. Ben, how are you feeling and how are you feeling for the games coming up?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Feeling nervous for Norwich and obviously Newcastle. Two big games in 5 days for us. So it's going to be absolutely crucial. We picked a victory up against Norwich and then hopefully confidence leads us into the Newcastle game. We can pick up more points there. But yeah, nervous, kind of dreading it a bit as well. It's make or break, isn't it?
Massively.
If we lose, we could potentially, that might be our season over and done with, because I can't see the confidence getting back up to try and pick up victories against Newcastle and West Ham and then Man City and Arsenal. It's looking a bit bleak, but yeah, very nervous for the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think you've just summed up every Watford fan's emotions in pretty much 30 seconds there, Ben. So, yeah.
That does your job for you, don't it? So,
yeah, exactly.
Next.
It's a very nerve-wracking time for us. Watford never do anything easy, and I think this just sums that up. But
it's awful, isn't it? Because like you're looking at like Match of the Day and Sky Sports News are all saying, "Oh, it's great that football's back." I'm absolutely hating football's back. I wish it was null and voided and we could have stayed up. I hate it. I hate losing every week, not putting in crap performances as well. But yeah, how can it be enjoyable? But yeah, we stick with it. We support our team through thick and whatever, and it's tough, isn't it?
It is. The only people that will be enjoying it is pundits that tip us to go down every year. And after the 5th year in the Premier League, this is the first time that they look like they're actually going to be spot on. So but it's very nerve-wracking for us, and unfortunately, we have to start by speaking about the defeat in London at the hands of Chelsea, 3-0. I mean, what were your thoughts going into the game, bearing in mind that it's, as you've said already, it's going to be a big week because Chelsea on Saturday and then the big game with Norwich on Tuesday. Were you thinking anything differently going into this, or was this another game that we had to try and win, I suppose?
Yeah, we wanted to try and sneak at least a point minimum out of the game, didn't we? But I think it was all about performance at Chelsea. We was all hoping we put in a bit more fight. We wanted to see all the players perform and us play as an actual team, because I feel like that's been lacking since we came back from lockdown. We performed as a team against Liverpool when we was absolutely phenomenal that day, but since then it's not really clicked. And yeah, so I was just hoping for a bit of a performance, really, from the Chelsea game. Going into it thinking, if we stay organised, maybe keep it tight, try and frustrate Chelsea, let them have the ball, let them try and play it in the box. We'll just clear it away all day, put it into a stand. We're not going to get the ball back quickly with no fans. But yeah, it didn't really turn out that way. I thought we was all right until, well, we're going to probably go through the lineups first anyway, so I'll hold my thoughts slightly.
Yeah, so touching on the lineups, and I think you're absolutely right there. I think, like we touched on in the last podcast, I think the most that we wanted out of this game was just for the lads to show a little bit of fight, just to sort of show us that it's not all over. I know, obviously, Twitter is a very negative place for Watford fans at the moment, and look, I've had my moans on there, Ben. I'm sure you've had your moans as well, but at the end of the day, we just want to see this Watford team fight. And I think that's what we touched on a lot last week, and that's what we really wanted. So set your watches to, I think it was 7:00 on Saturday evening. Team news is out, and there's 3 changes from last week. So Cathcart, Messina and Pereira are out. So already you're sort of thinking, okay, this could be interesting. In comes Cabaselli, one that you called, Ben. You did say you would swap that. Yeah. The other 2, not so much. Adrian Mariappa coming in at right back, which means that Feminir had to switch to the left. And then Nathaniel Chalobah coming in for, well, what we thought was Chalobah's coming in for Pereira, but how it turned out was Will Hughes was put out on the left, which isn't his natural position, and then Chalobah was in the middle. So just to run you through the team, Foster in goal, a back four of Femenia, who was on the left, Dawson and Cabaselli in the middle, Adrian Mariappa as right back. The left midfield was Will Hughes. Then it was Chalobah and Capoue as the central defensive midfielders. And then Decore and was in the middle, sort of playing behind Troy and supporting him at times. And then it was Sarr out on the right with Troy up front on his own. So, like, I've got no... I had no words when I saw this. Like, what was you thinking? As soon as you saw that, firstly, Hughes is out on the left. We know he doesn't play well there. Chalobah's come in from nowhere. And Adrian Mariappa's playing right back against, like, Chelsea.
Yeah, scratching my head. I had to wipe my eyes as well. I was like, am I dreaming? Am I seeing things right? I had no issue that maybe Kiko was going over to left back because we've seen that he's done a solid job there, and that's what Pearson started playing him at the start. But I thought Mariappa was going to absolutely get teared to shreds with Pulisic. So that was a worry for me. And then Hughesy, it looked, and Chalobah coming in, it looked like that Pearson wanted to flood the midfield and try and make it as possible for them to play through balls through to our defence.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see early on, Chelsea was just so slick with their passing, and they managed to get through, didn't they? But I could kind of see what he was thinking, but also it was like moving Kiko over to left back and then having two left backs on the bench. You'd have Holebas and Messina. I'd be absolutely fuming if I was Holebas to see that they've just put a right back to left back and that there was still the first choice left back on the bench as well. So he knew he weren't coming on at all, pretty much.
Yeah, I must say as well, Femenia did an outstanding job at left back.
Yes,
I thought he was one of the
positives.
Players. Yeah, very much so. But that Mariappa one, I was just like, I love Maps and his love for the club and, he's passionate. But I just thought, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, no, I would have rather if he was centre-back.
Yeah. If you're going to put him on, put him centre-back. But, I mean, really, against Chelsea... he's not first choice. You wouldn't expect him to line up against Chelsea. So, obviously we've touched on our thoughts there. So going into the match, obviously it's a common theme at the moment. We started off very slowly. I think it was very evident to see that we were just happy to sort of sit back and maybe try and hit Chelsea on the counter. Chelsea was like a training game from the first minute till I'd say the last sort of 15 minutes, which we'll touch upon in a little bit. But it was evident that it was attack against defence. It was literally like a training game. I know people have likened these restart games to training matches anyway because, with no crowd and if you watch it without the sound noise. But this literally was like they'd just rocked up and said, fancy just taking part in a little training exercise because we just weren't at the races. And again, we were playing long balls and whatnot, and it wasn't as regular, so that's a little bit more of a positive. But just the way that Chelsea were passing us, like we had 30% possession, 30% possession. I think the last time we had that, we beat Liverpool, but we didn't really care because we'd just beaten the champions to be. But 30% possession, Chelsea had 70, and we just looked like we were happy to just sit back and try and hit them on the counter, maybe. Did you get that sort of feel from the game as well, early doors, or...?
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like we were just going to sit tight, try and soak up all the pressure and then try and hit him on the break with Sarr. I think we tried it a couple of times playing the ball out to Sarr, but it wasn't really working for him. So then we actually tried to go down the left-hand side, and Hughesy and Kiko was actually getting a bit more joy that side. So it looked like we could have maybe got something out of it. There was a few crosses into the box, but nothing really came of it. But it looked like it was just a defence against attack, wasn't it, really? Pretty much an exhibition match.
Pretty much. Like it was a hard watch. You sort of knew that we weren't obviously going to go there and just give it, like, throw the kitchen sink at it because... Yeah,
we know we're not going to go try and play Chelsea off the park. They're a quality side. And to be frank, we haven't got the players to compete with them man to man, have we? No. So we went there with our tactics. We tried to keep it tight at the back. We tried to frustrate Chelsea, hit them on the counter. It just didn't work.
It didn't. And, usually, as you've said, he tried to flood the midfield. And with seeing the midfield that we put out, Capoue, was playing, and Chalobah, and we saw Chalobah. I think he started the last game we played at Stamford Bridge as well, and he did all right from what I remember. But Capoue, again, I don't think he was at the races. He was a walking red card at one stage. Whether it's the lack of match fitness, he's played too many minutes, I don't know. But again, he looks poor.
Yeah, I think the first 20 odd so minutes until the drinks breaks, I couldn't have fault Watford, and I thought we was tracking every run. We was pretty tight on every single player. Chelsea weren't really craving out any chances. It's once that drinks break came in, the same thing happened against Southampton as well in the first half. They seemed to go back after the drinks break and switch off and lose that little bit of pace, and within minutes, Giroud stuck it in the back of the net. I don't like this whole drinks break. I understand it if it is 30 plus degrees, but it's not at the moment. It's embarrassing that they're taking drinks at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night when it's probably about 19 degrees. Oh no, let's stop for a drinks break. It completely unsettles the Watford team, and I don't know why, but it's happened twice now, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it's not just us. You watch other games, and I was watching a game yesterday. We're recording this on Monday the 6th, by the way, ladies and gents. So I was watching a game yesterday, and I think they put up a stat of goals, possession stats, I think it was. I think it was a Burnley game. They look better after a drinks break than they do before it. And, we saw that when we played Burnley. They would come alive a lot more. But I think, the drinks break's 26 minutes into the first half, I think, from
Something
memory.
Like
Giroud scored 28 minutes. It was just, you knew it was going to happen. Nobody was expecting to rock up to Chelsea and win. But when that first goal went in, you just thought, right, it's a case of keeping the score down now. Let's not get absolutely battered. So Giroud scored. We seemed like, okay, we're not going to push at them anymore. The balls up to Deeney just weren't working. He didn't look at the races. A few other players didn't. Capoue obviously gets himself booked, so you don't want him flying into challenges like he does usually. He was very lucky, I think, to still be on the pitch, but he brought down Pulisic, was it? And may I just say, Pulisic that game, and since the restart, I don't know what he's been eating, but my God, he looks incredible. I thought he was probably their best player in the match. Pulisic was just running in the channels, finding those spaces of pockets of spaces rather. And he won the penalty fair and square. There'll be no arguments. But what a stupid thing to do, running in at full pelt like that. He tried to pull away, but when you're running at that pace and at that angle, you're never going to pull out. And secondly, it was right before half-time. If we'd have gone into the break at 1-0, who knows what might have happened. We've seen since the restart that we come out the second half a much better side. So something must be happening at half-time that sort of kicks us into gear. So who knows what could have happened if it was just 1-0. But I think that absolutely killed the game then, as soon as that penalty went in.
Yeah, the moment the ref blew his whistle, you could see in his face, and the other players as well.
Yeah.
What a clumsy challenge from Capoue. I can understand that he wants to get back and he's showing that he wants to win the ball back, but to be going in gun-ho like that, and you got someone like Pulisic who, I'm not going to say he saw what was coming, but he's clever, isn't he? He's going to turn into that, like all attacking players are going to, and he did well to win the penalty. But Capoue, I think there was two other players in a Watford shirt who was closer to Pulisic. Just stand up. Yeah. You don't charge in like that or go to ground in a penalty box. And these are the things you get taught as a youngster. Maybe they teach them differently in France, but it's a silly challenge. And to go in 2-0 down at half time, that was tough.
It was. I think it knocks the wind out your sails, like I say. If you go into the break 1-0 against Chelsea, something can be said. Something can be like, right, okay, we're not completely out of this. Let's go. Let's keep pushing. If we want to soak up pressure and try and hit them on the counter, I think it would have been inevitable that another goal would have been coming if we did that. But we might have the shackles might have been off a little bit. We might have just been might
have just rode the storm out until half time.
exactly. But
because I thought whatever was coming into the box, we was clearing it quite well. I thought Cabasili and Dawson was getting their heads on pretty much everything and just launching the ball upfield. We was then resetting and getting the defence organised again. I thought we was doing all right with that, but just to give a silly penalty away like that, it's ridiculous.
It sums up how we are as a team at the moment, I think.
Yeah, you can see how low the confidence is as well.
Yeah, massively.
I think he was trying too hard, wasn't he, Capu, at that point?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe he knows that he's not been at his best recently and maybe wants to try a little bit too hard, as you say. And, you know, you do see the players' frustration as well. I think that's the first time I've seen Foster react angrily after they scored the first goal. He was not happy at all. So something's going on, I think, more than meets the eye. You know, whether something's going on behind the scenes or whatnot, I don't know. But I think something bad has happened. I hate to think what, but just something doesn't feel right within this team. I think Jacob Coulshaw actually mentioned on Twitter today, as I was reading, I think that was the first time we had a pre-kick-off huddle as well.
Yes,
since the restart, which Watford are known for doing. You know, it's part and parcel. So whether that's little signs that things are hopefully pulling together a little bit more, but I do think
it was a whole case of the distance and what's going on and the protocols and that. So I think maybe there was a bit and about whether we should do it, but I think they was thinking, sod it, we need to get us all together. We need to have a match huddle. We need to show the fans that we're all in this still and we're still fighting for every single point. That's what I thought it felt like on Saturday. All the intentions were good. Yeah.
And then again, similar story. We come out the second half. We start the second half 5-10 minutes, maybe not 10 minutes, but certainly first five. We looked good, passing it around and whatnot. And then it went back to Chelsea exhibition passing match. How many passes can we string together before Watford get near the ball? And they were just passing us to death. And, you know, a large majority of that match, that second half, I was sat there and I was thinking, right, okay, let's take the 2-0. Let's sit back. I don't care if we don't attack. 2-0, not great, but you know, compared to other goal differences, you'll take it. I think come the end of that day, we were... Come the 3-0 at the final whistle, we had a goal difference better by 1 than Aston Villa, who was sitting directly beneath us, because obviously Bournemouth their goal difference took quite a bit of a hammering at Old Trafford. So I sort of thought, okay, let's take little positives out of this. 2-0, we'll do that. But towards the end, the last sort of 10, 15 minutes, and listen, anyone that listens to this podcast and anyone that knows me personally will know that Troy Deeney is by far my favourite player at Watford. Whether it's the Birmingham connection, I don't know. But he is by far my favourite Watford player. But I hate to say it, but it was so evident when Troy come off for Danny Welbeck, we looked a much better side. You know, I don't know what it was. Is it a fact of Troy's just not cut it at this level anymore? You know, we made the substitution. Welbeck come on 58 minutes in, and cleverly actually come on for Troy 64 minutes in. So first of all, the substitutions were a lot sooner, which I think was better.
Yeah, I thought the subs were positive. Capu came off and Welbeck came on. I thought, all right, we're going attacking. This is good. We've not seen this for a while. So yeah, substitutions were great. And then seeing cleverly come on from Deeney, he was like, okay, we're going to play Welbeck through the middle. And it started paying off, didn't it?
It certainly did.
Welbeck was a threat. He was showing a great show of pace. It was trickery to get past one of the centre-backs as well. And then crossed it, and luckily Hughesy couldn't turn it goalward. But we haven't seen that from a Watford striker for ages. To get in from behind. He also had a one-on-one. His movement off the ball was brilliant. It was like, oh, this is what it's like to actually play a striker that's a bit more mobile.
Yeah. Do you think that's what it is? Do you think, obviously, Troy's always been that sort of bigger player that you lump it up to, and, you know, he probably won't thank me for saying that, but that is what he's cut out. That is the sort of mould of striker he is. Yeah. He does the dirty work. He'll go up and try him in the headers, whereas Welbeck's completely the opposite. He'll find those spaces. He'll run at defenders. He's got the trickery. He's got the pace if he needs to be. Like, do you think that it is literally a case of we need a player that's more mobile as opposed to just playing that one striker up top who is really built just to do the dirty work. Do you think that's all it is, or?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think in the Premier League, you need someone with a bit of pace up front, and unfortunately, Troy doesn't have that. I think Troy would be great up front if he had a partner, and we've not played to his strengths, I don't think, by having a partner for Troy, because look at the partnerships down the line we've had. He's worked well with Igalo, Vidya and Forestieri in the Championship. These are all people with a bit of pace, and they offer something completely different to Troy. So I feel like Troy's kind of been hung up to dry a little bit by the fans. They've all gone in hard on him. Troy's an absolute legend to the football club, and it's just maybe time for him to maybe look elsewhere, or for the club to look elsewhere, or just find someone who to play up top with him.
Yeah, like I say, I think if you're going to play him, you play him as a partnership. It's very evident now that playing Troy up on his own, it's not going to work, especially with the absence of Gerard Deulofeu. Yeah. I think that has been so evident. And look, there was times last season that I'd be watching us, and Deulofeu can be very frustrating at times. But my God, we're missing him, and it's never been so evident.
Yeah, no, he is frustrating to watch. I don't think some fans like the way he shrugs around the pitch sometimes after he's lost the ball. Yeah. He doesn't really track back or anything, but he can create something out of nothing, and that's what we're missing at the moment. He can put the ball in the back of the net. Not many players can do that at the moment. We have to rely on own goals at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And last minute, what it would seem like a fluky last minute overhead kick now, because we haven't really looked like, other than Southampton. Well, even against Southampton, we haven't really looked like scoring. And it's you mentioned that Hughes chance, which I could have sworn that was a corner.
It was, yeah. Loftus-Cheek got there just before him and put it out of the corner. You could hear Hughesy shouting at the ref saying, "Ref, are you serious?" It's unbelievable.
But we created chances, and it was looking like we might sneak a goal. And again, 2-1 with it would have been 10, 15 minutes ago. You just never know. It would have been, again, undeserved, like we said against Southampton last week. And it's almost similar pattern. We were knocking at the door at 2-0 down against Southampton. We were really pushing. If we got a goal, who knows? But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. And Ross Barkley pops up in the last minute and sort of puts, not that it needed it, but puts the final nail in the coffin. And it was good night, good night Vienna from there. It was 3-0. And Ross Barkley, 3-0 and minus 23. Aston Villa were minus 24 goal difference, and Bournemouth were minus 27. 2-0, I think, would have been better scoreline for us, obviously. That sort of goes without saying. But I think 3-0 was more likely and looking like that as well.
I didn't think we deserved to lose 3-0 at Chelsea. I thought the second half was much better, and the way we was pushing on as well. It was a much better second half performance, and I hope we take that into the Norwich game, because if we do, we could cause some problems. But the moment that went in, I thought, I hope we can bounce back from this Tuesday night now, because that could be it. That's going to take the stuffing out of us.
Absolutely. Well, talking of Tuesday night, no better place to start than now. Obviously, if you don't know, it's, I would say, the biggest Watford game that we've had probably in the Premier League since we returned. Because other than that Mazzari season, which we didn't really look like going down at any stage, weirdly, because we were playing awfully at times. But other than that, I can't think of a more important Premier League game that we've had to play.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is definitely the most important Premier League game we've got. And to think at the start of the season, when we was going to Carrow Road, we was calling that the massive game as well, because we was bottom of the league. We was quite adrift from everyone else, weren't we? And
hadn't won,
and that was our first win of the season at Carrow Road. So
it was.
This is our second massive game of the season, and it's against Norwich again. It's funny how things turn out, but it's absolutely huge. We've got two big games in 5 days. Hopefully, we can get a win against Norwich, and it will build for momentum at the weekend. But this is absolutely massive. We lose this, it could be the final nail in the coffin for our Premier League status, because I can't see us motivating ourselves to try and get anything out of the other games. I think we're low on confidence as it is. If we lose to Norwich, oh my God, I think we're down.
Yeah, well, I was looking.
Would you take a point against Norwich?
No, We can't take a point anymore.
No,
We've sat
exactly.
on this podcast the last couple of weeks. In fact, since it started, before that first game back against Leicester, and I ask you all the time, would you take a point against such and such? And we go, okay, we can maybe stretch to a point. It's got to that point now.
We've gone past that stage now, haven't we?
We cannot take points, especially against Norwich. And listen, we're in no position to be sitting here and sort of not slagging off, but talking about other teams like we have to beat them and whatnot. But Norwich haven't won in the last 6 games. I get that we haven't as well, but Norwich's confidence. Daniel Farker did a press conference today, and I was on the train and I was reading bits and pieces from it as well. And Adam Leventhal from The Athletic has also mentioned as well. He put the link out. But I just want to read something which will link into what I'm going to ask you in a minute. They had a press conference, and by the sounds of it, Daniel Farke was basically saying that they're now building for next season in the Championship. There's 7 points adrift from us. Now, albeit if they win, it's going to be 4 points. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But they pretty much know that next season now is going to be Championship football, which makes it even more important that we bloody beat them. McLean has rolled his ankle, so is a doubt. Alex Tettey has also done something to his knee, but Farker's hoping to have the pair available. The big one for us, I think, Ben, is that Todd Cantwell is definitely out after complaining of a hamstring issue. Scans don't look bad, and he may make West Ham on Saturday, but definitely not Watford tomorrow. Not that we should be looking at team news like that to inspire us to beat bottom of the league Norwich City, but how big a blow do you think that is for Norwich, and how big do you think that makes it even more for Watford, even though it was already massive that we were going to beat them?
It is a massive blow for Norwich. We did this a few weeks back. We were saying about all the out-of-contract players at Burnley, all the injury players, all the strikers being out, and what happened, we went on to lose. But yeah, Todd Cantwell being out, he's played 33 Premier League games and scored 6 goals. If you take that out of your side, it's going to be very evident that you're lacking the quality. It's not a bad first season for him either. He's a very young player, so I'm glad that he's missing from the starting lineup. But this is absolutely vital that we pick up something against Norwich. They've still got Pukki. I noticed he didn't start at the weekend, but he came off the bench.
Let's not talk about his stats because you know what will happen. But let's just say Pukki. Do you know what I'm going to say? Because we have to win.
You've done it now, ain't you?
No. I'm not going to. All I'm going to say is he's not been doing his job as of late. That's as much as I'm going to say. I think you can work out the rest, listeners. So hopefully that doesn't completely jinx it. But I want to ask. So obviously we saw those 3 changes against Chelsea. What changes do you make to the lineup from Chelsea against Norwich? And do you make any change to the formation as well?
I've not changed the formation.
No.
So I've kept the same formation, but I've changed the players around. So I've done Foster in goal. Mm-hmm. Messina's coming back in at left back. Dawson, Cabaselli in the middle, and Kiko back to right back. I'm going to do Capu and Chalobah in the middle. Then I'm doing Decore through the middle.
Yeah.
Shoes, I'm going to stick to the left because I thought he did a good game at the weekend, and I thought he was a threat from the left-hand side as well. And if we need players who are actually going to fight at the moment, Shoesy is definitely one of those players. It's a shame we haven't got more Will Hughes in our squad because he's a top professional. And when things aren't going too well, he's the kind of people you need to pull the club through thick and fast. And Sarr on the right, and then Danny Welbeck through the middle. No Troy Deeney in my starting 11.
He's on the bench though, right? We're not completely hanging him out to dry.
He's just on the bench. I actually think he could do a job coming off the bench last 30 minutes. I think he could come on and bully defenders and maybe if we need it, stick 2 up top, Welbeck and Deeney. But
who knows? That's very interesting. Now, usually we speak before we start recording, and I've sort of got a rough idea, but I just completely went in sort of blinds there, and I didn't expect the back 4. I'm in total agreement with you. Obviously, Foster in goal, bringing back Messina left back, Dawson and Cabaselli. They did as well as they could against a very strong Chelsea side. and having Kiko Femenia at right back. Completely agree. I didn't expect you to keep Chalobah in. I really did not see that coming. I just think that, yeah, Chalobah's okay, and this might be the type of game for him to really blossom. But I just think Hughes, as well as he did, and as well as he's been doing for the club, I just think he's much better in the middle. And against a team like Norwich, he can cut out those sort of passes. Norwich, they are going to make mistakes like we do, and they are going to lose the ball through the middle. And whether that plays to our advantage with the Corey pushing up high and Welbeck as well, that's giving it away, who I think should start up top. But that's the only change that I would make. I would put out on the left, and I know we keep saying this, I would start João Pedro and put him out left. But I actually think if it's an actual case of picking what I think the lineup will be, I think we'll actually see a return to the starting 11 for Roberto Pereira. I don't agree with it, but I just think that Pearson maybe thinks that this is a type of game. And look, against the defence as shaky as Norwich is, I think Pereira on his day, he does possess the sort of skills to unlock against those sort of defences, and maybe will sort of cause problems. But I think that we'll see Hughes drop back into the middle and then Pereira out on the left. Ideally, I would want Pedro to start out on the left, but then Decore in the middle, Sarr out on the right. We need to involve him a lot more because I don't think he's been at it since we've got back, and I don't think that's totally his fault. I don't think we've utilised him as much as we wanted to. And then Danny Welbeck up top. I love Troy, and he's been a fantastic servant and whatnot, and I just don't think that it's so evident from the last sort of 10, 15 minutes against Chelsea that he maybe needs to sit this one out. And like you've said, if it's a case of, if say we are 2-0 up, hopefully 2-3-0 up, come the last sort of 10, 15 minutes, bring Troy on and let him sort of go up for headers against these defenders, sort of bully him a bit. And if he can nick a goal as well, you just never know. But how big... And again, I can't stress this enough that it is against bottom of the league Norwich, and I don't want to throw too much disrespect on the name, but from what I understand, their fan base pretty much knows that they're down. How big is this? If we were to win, do you think this would be going into what I can only describe as season-defining games coming up? Like Newcastle at home on Saturday. Thank God we're at home. I just want to say about that. And then West Ham away. Like, do you think that this could kickstart? I say kickstart. We've only got, 5 games left after this or 4 games left after this? But how big would a win be going into these last few games?
I'm going to throw it out there. If we win against Norwich, I think we'll stay up.
Okay, that's very interesting that you say that. Do you say that because you think that we'll have the confidence and play more freely in the next games, or do you think that because of the run-ins that the teams below us have?
Both really. I think it's going to improve our confidence going into the other games, and also if the other teams are pretty poor as well. I think Villa are putting in a bit of fight down there. They look better defensively, but I can't really see them. We're 1 point in front of Aston Villa already, aren't we?
We are.
I can't see them getting 2 wins out their last 2 games to kind of overtake us. I think one win, possibly get a draw at West Ham, even a draw against Newcastle might be enough to stay up.
Well, it's funny you say that. You can't see, I assume it goes for Bournemouth as well, you can't see them getting a win. But just to run you through the last 5 games it is for Villa and Bournemouth. So Villa they play on Thursday night. They're at home against Manchester United, who seem to have hit form at the right time. They're pushing for a top 4 finish at this rate. So Villa have got Man U at home, Crystal Palace at home, Everton away, Arsenal at home. Then they finish the season against West Ham. My God, that could be an interesting game. And then on the other flip side, Bournemouth fans, close your ears. Tottenham at home on Thursday night, Leicester at home, Man City away, Southampton at home, and then Everton away. Like, we look at those fixtures, and on paper, I can't see Bournemouth picking up any more points. Possibly against Leicester, and that's a real small possibly. And then Aston Villa, possibly against Crystal Palace.
I think Bournemouth might pick up a few points. I think they're kind of playing
Really?
teams. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
They looked all right going forward against Manchester United. It's just if they can sort out their defence. They're playing Leicester, who they're not doing great. I know they picked up a victory over Saturday, but
Yep.
they've not been great since they came back. Did you say they got Everton still? I don't
They
think
have, yeah.
Everton aren't really playing for much, apart from maybe a European spot. So I think some teams might be, and like Villa have got Palace. Did you say?
Palace, yeah. Palace is the one that I'm sort of looking at, and I'm thinking
Palace ain't got anything to play for. Palace don't really like Watford. They might like let a Villa win.
Thinking a bit too much into that, hopefully, Ben.
Well, I have had some thoughts lately.
Yeah, we all. Yeah, no, I sort of see where you're coming from. I just think that, especially with Everton, as much as it pains me because of the sort of non-rivalry that's sort of going on, still something doesn't sit right with Everton with me. But I just think that Carlo Ancelotti, like the fact they've got Carlo Ancelotti as a manager, I think that in itself sort of says you'd think he'd have better tactics at the moment than Villa and Bournemouth. But Villa certainly give us a fright last night against Liverpool. I thought at one stage Villa might actually go on and maybe draw or even win. But
also, we are playing first before everyone else. We're playing tomorrow night. Tomorrow night at 6:00. We've got Norwich, and then you've got West Ham are playing on Wednesday night against Burnley. Yep. Bournemouth are playing Thursday. Villa are playing Thursday. So if we pick up a victory as well, it might work in our favour, and they might not be up for it anymore. Their heads might drop. They might think, "Oh God, we're actually 4 points behind Watford now. This is going to be tough."
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. Like I've mentioned in a couple of other podcasts, obviously being from Birmingham, I've got a lot of mates that are Villa season ticket holders, and I was speaking to one in particular today, and he seemed to think that if we win, and he's not the only one, but if we beat Norwich on Tuesday, he, as a Aston Villa fan, thinks that is it. And it's interesting, the fact that considering after this game, we've still got 4 games left, the other fans, I don't know how Bournemouth are thinking, but Villa fans, from what I've gauged at the moment, seem to think that one win for the team that's only a point above them will sort of define the season and sort of write off the season for them. When personally, I think that we need 2. But I do think that if we do beat Norwich on, tomorrow, I think that possibly that gives us a little bit more freedom going into the West Ham and Newcastle games. I think ideally we need to win at least one of them. So ideally, I think from these next 3 games, we need 7 points. So we need to beat 2 of them and draw 1.
It's a big ask, isn't it?
It is a big ask. But looking at the other fixtures, I don't want to jinx anything, but I think we could possibly get away with 5 points from the next 3 games. So a win against Norwich. The imperative thing is we have to win tomorrow.
Yes.
I cannot stress that enough. We have to win tomorrow. And then maybe we can play a bit more freely against Newcastle and West Ham. And if we can pick up a point against either of them, 5 points, you just never know. I personally don't see the others catching up. But really, I think we need 7 points from the next 3 games because the last 2 are write-offs.
I don't think it's going to be a great watch tomorrow either. I think you're going to see 2 teams fight. Yeah, it's going to be scrappy. Both teams fighting for their lives. I think if we win, there'll be a bit more attractive football maybe against Newcastle at the weekend, but it's going to be a dog's fight tomorrow night.
But do you not just quickly...
And I would take a 1-0 dirty win against Norwich.
I was just going to say that before we wrap it up. Do you think that you think it's going to be a scrappy game? And by all means, I think that it is. Obviously, it's not going to be El Clasico sort of level of football, guys. But do you not think that those sort of wins can sometimes breed confidence, that sort of more confidence than if you was to go out and completely play somebody off the park?
Definitely.
I think they would.
I think confidence is a massive thing in football. If you haven't got football confidence, you're rock bottom. You can't see when the next victory is coming. If you can get that one win, you start believing and you think, okay, then that weren't too bad. We played all right. That turned out well. Let's go into the next game, do exactly the same. They're going to be buzzing. They might even try more things. Like confidence is also like Saul might try and take on more players, or there might be. people like actually getting shots on target because they've got a bit more confidence. It's funny how things work, and also you haven't got the crowd on people's back either. So
you haven't. But on the flip side of that, a game against Norwich, I can tell you now, if the crowd were there, that'd be a sellout tomorrow night, 100%. But on the other flip side,
if I was there tomorrow, I'd be in walkabout, but by about 12 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. But I also think that perhaps if the fans were there, we might have picked up a few more points as well. I think we certainly would have beaten Leicester if the crowd were there. But that's another conversation for another day. But yeah, I think that's as much as we can touch on the Chelsea game and the Norwich game. Score prediction. Oh, okay. You've put me on the spot there. I'm going to go. Oh God, I hate this because I don't want to jinx anything.
Do you want me to go first?
In fact, no. Do you know what, Ben? I'm going to be confident from here on in now. 2-0. Not only are we going to win, it'll be a clean sheet. It's going to be scrappy. And I think Danny Welbeck scores and Will Hughes scores. Will Hughes has been phenomenal since he started. And I think he's going to get his rewards by scoring tomorrow night. So 2-0, Danny Welbeck and Will Hughes. Ben?
I was actually thinking 2-0 Watford as well. And I think you
can still go for it.
And I think a clean sheet will give the defence so much confidence as well. And I think
you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, and Foster will absolutely love that, especially after the errors he had last time out at Vicarage Road. So 2-0. I'm going Danny Welbeck as well, and I'm going Sarr.
Sarr, okay, interesting. Well, that's it for this episode.
Also, if we get a penalty,
go on.
If we get a penalty because Troy's not on the pitch, who would you put as a penalty taker?
Oh, is this at 0-0? You're asking me this, or is this once we're already 2-0 up? Because 2-0 up, Foster, come on, son. Nah, joking. No, good question. Penalty takers, I think. Who would usually? Do you know what?
It's a tough one, isn't it?
The last player that I can remember, the last penalty that we had when Troy wasn't on the pitch was the 2-2 against Arsenal. And Pereira stepped up and took it.
Yeah, Delafeu's also scored a penalty this season for us as well.
He's not playing though.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Do you know what? Oh man, give it to Welbeck. Give it to Welbeck if we get one. Yeah,
I would either give it to Welbeck or Hughes.
Yeah, okay, Hughes. I can see where you're going with that. Yeah, that's a very interesting question.
Or if Andre Gray was on the pitch, I'd give it to Andre Gray.
No, he wouldn't. No, Andre Gray's not going anywhere near that pitch tomorrow. The closest he's getting is to hand his pass back into the staff at Vicarage Road. I'm sorry, but no, I'm joking. I'm being a bit harsh there, but I don't think Gray deserves to start tomorrow. He's certainly not my first penalty choice taker. So, yeah, that was a little bit harsh upon reflection. But
would he get into your under-23 squad?
Well, what, to cut the grass? Nah, I can see where you're going with Andre Gray, but I just think, especially if it's 0-0, if he does play for whatever reason, if Pearson, unveils another blinder of a team selection, one that we don't see coming, and Andre Gray does somehow play tomorrow, I don't think his confidence is where it is to be taking a penalty at 0-0. If we go 2-0 up, let's say, for example, and we get a penalty, then I'd give it to Andre Gray if he's on the pitch. Because if he misses it, then, it's not too much of a big deal. You're 2-0 up. But if he scores, it does his confidence a world of good. But that is a very good question. And in fact, it's that good a question. When you guys listen to this, I want you to let us know at Voices of the Vic on Twitter or on Instagram. Drop us a message who you think our penalty taker should be if we get one and Troy's not playing. So, Ben, that's a superb question, and we'll put that to our listeners as well.
You're welcome.
But, you can come up with them more often, mate, I tell you. Make my job a lot easier.
You was just wrapping up as well. I felt bad.
I know, I was wrapping up, yeah. No, don't apologise. It's good to get these questions out. But
all right, what else are you having for dinner tonight?
Yeah. Any other questions then? Any other burning desires you want to know? Blood type, height, weight, BMI? Joking. Unless Ben wants to ask any more questions, I think we'll wrap it up there, ladies.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Yeah, we've kept it under an hour, which is what we like to see. We do apologise whenever it goes over an hour, so that's mainly my fault. although you can blame them for any overgoings this week. But yeah, I think literally I'm hoping that because we're going to record straight after the game tomorrow, ladies and gents. So hopefully tomorrow is the cheeriest podcast we've ever recorded since we started. Albeit that was only a couple of games ago against Leicester, but I'm hoping that our first podcast pre-podcast recording is going to end up with us coming off the back of a win against Norwich, and things will look a lot happier, and we can breathe a little bit more. Because going into Saturday, my God, it's going to be, if we don't win, it's going to be one hell of a bumpy ride. But yeah, fingers crossed, we get that win tomorrow, and things start to look a little bit better. And then Thursday, we don't need to be as bothered about what teams pick up. So yeah, we thank you again for listening, ladies and gents. Like I said at the start, whether it's the first time, whether it's the sixth time, if you're somewhere in between, thanks for listening to us. Don't forget to tell your mates as well. And hopefully when we speak to you next, which will be it will be available to download for you guys on Wednesday at 7 a.m. Hopefully we will be talking about a victory for Watford, and the first since February. So yeah, thanks very much, ladies and gents, and we'll hopefully see you on the other side after the back of 3 points. Thank you very much for tuning in. Good night.